Oh my gosh, none of that worked. I just did a full breakdown for you all, and I just saw that the internet was not going live. Wow. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me loud and clear now? Oh my gosh, I just did a full breakdown as well. Let's just do it very, very quickly now so you're all prepared. Take two, shall we? Daily chart. High, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, mean reversion up into 20-day. Your location here is not bullish, all right? You are into high time frame supply. You are into the golden pocket. You do not want to be thinking about buying too high today. I'm probably going to miss some of these trades, but this is my fault for not setting it live while doing the breakdown. Into an hourly. Your hourly, again, low-hanging fruit were the trades yesterday. We came and swept all these guys, right? So most low-hanging fruit has gone. The easy trade has gone. We are trying to build flags here, but your location is not good, even if your momentum is. So you have to be cautious. If you're buying today, you're buying very, very high in this session for a move up to here. Remember, back testing has not really happened. We have this level here into the 300s and 150, 100s. We've never back tested these to see if buyers step back in. So there is possible rotation lower today. There is possible chop here to build liquidity. There's possible squeeze if they really get going for that drive up. So everything is on the table today. You will see in the 5-minute, we built this Asia session, came and swept this level in New York. Once we did that, we traded upside in a squeeze. They are trying to build out the same thing again now. They were trying to build out a flag, but I was just saying, unfortunately, it wasn't live. 520 here, have to be careful. If they fail this, rotate to 20-day, fail under here, and get heavy, we have this liquidity to be used here. So I'm not fully bullish biased today. It would need to be a very deep pullback and very obvious that bears a trap for me to really be thinking about a bullish move today. I probably should have taken this short off the open, but it's my fault, team. I'm very, very sorry there. VIX opening under 16. Everything's starting to pull back. Spiders and ES got stuck at the 50-day. QQQ stuck at the 20-day. Hopefully, that's a very quick rundown of what I was saying for about 10 minutes there. But good morning, everyone. Morning, Wisdom Lover, Miguel, Crawford, Ramus, Thumper, Eva, TR, Glenn, Marek, John, Small Caps, Minix, Wisdom Lover, Kathy. Good morning, everyone. All right, so how we act here into previous day close. Remember, filling a gap here that we gapped up a little bit overnight. You've got a mixed bag on the Mag 7, starting to break down underneath that London low and Asia high. We have to see how we act here. Are we going to get a failure today? I was actually looking short for the open, but once I realized none of you could hear me, that I would rather look after you guys, but that was a very nice short already. All right, as we protect this level here, all right, as we start to move down, failure to squeeze, short back in. This is the old hourly trend line, this white line, and that white horizontal line is previous day close. So filling the gap there now on the NQ and the QQQ, and SPY is almost filled the gap. Let's just see what that close was yesterday. Make sure we've got that accurate. To 93, I think. So maybe a little bit further to go. Very, very close. So gap fill complete very early on the session here. Or nearly complete, we should say. Hasn't quite tagged that white line. Vinny, good morning. All right, I'm really sorry, guys. That was my fault. Those of you in Discord would know that I've got quite a lot going on this morning, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully it got you set up here. So that pullback inside swept the London low. I have to see if buyers step in here or if this is going to be a pump to sell straight away. Again, mixed bag on the Mag 7. Didn't fully close that gap. We got very, very close to closing the gap there. Very, very close. So driving back upside, I'm going to test previous day high here and the VWAP. Questioning now, it's still early. Do they come and sell this and try and go back for that low on a bear flag type move? And if they do, how low can we go underneath? I'm definitely running a little bit behind here today. So watching liquidity, there's a buyer on the book around 400. He didn't get fully filled down there. Partial fill. So watching how we act at previous day high here and VWAP, do we start to sell those? Or are we going to start to try and initiate some form of squeeze, not fully even closing the gap? Good move up from this SPY. Watching for a potential bear flag and continuation lower here. If it's willing to flush. So looking for this move here if it's willing to flush down. Finding bids. This white line here is the H1 trend. All right, that's off an H1 trend. So if that starts to fail, you know that H1 trend is starting to fail a little bit. Morning, Tyson. You have to be cautious today. After such a big day yesterday and a decent extension overnight, there is chance of some choppiness. Watching this carefully here for that flush move because we just failed previous day high. All right, we failed to get into and above previous day high. Have to be careful here. Like I said, they can set squeezes very, very quickly in this session. All right, because you're not in multi-time frame alignment. I'd like to see at least that gap close down towards 77 would be good. Nice rejection there on the ES at previous day high. Looking very good for this bear flag and breakdown. So nice clear trade here. Moving size into this now. Looking for a break of structure. Stop in the money. Looking to break underneath 406. Remember, we've got a buyer at 400. Underneath that, we should come straight down to 77. So looking for this breakdown. Very aware of that white line, which is the H1 trend. Can we get this move? Looking good now. Watching for this gap fill. Gap fill will be into, well, 400 here for the cash gap, 77 for that 5 o'clock gap. So holding there, taking some partials on that move down, locking some money in already. Maybe it needs to build out more liquidity before it does it. Again, like I said, squeeze potential here today is high. I will flip back to bullish bias if I think enough longs get trapped. But right now, in this lower time frame structure, we're looking like it might want to move down and fill some gaps. So let's just see. Oh, my wrist is sore. Good morning, Idris. Morning, everyone. So do me a favor, guys, in chat. I know I was a little bit late to the stream today. I'm so that was my fault. I was giving you about 10 minutes of briefing, realizing that OBS had not gone live. So that is totally my fault. Apologies. First time I've ever done that. Head a little bit scrambled today. But do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get it moving to 50 nice and early. Again, just inside range here. On the 5-minute, we did just tag underneath the London low. Have not attacked the Asia or overnight low into 353 yet. We'll be watching here to see if we fail up here into the flow zones. We can move it to a 1 minute. Into these flow zones and VWAP. If we start to reclaim, need to be cautious that it doesn't just put in a squeeze all the way back up. So far, momentum on the lower time frame off that morning is saying that it might want to fill that gap. ES did fill the gap, interestingly, at 8 o'clock. Right, so ES did actually fill that gap at 8 o'clock this morning. So yeah, I don't mind being along today, but it needs to be with shorts trapped or it needs to be at much lower prices. Half expecting a very, very choppy session here after such a beautiful move yesterday. And if we're going to get going to the upside here, we can think about this red line at the top. So squeeze looks like it's starting to set in here. Where's this from? Get rid of that. So tagging into flow zones into that lower time frame algo. Did they trap enough shorts underneath that London low? Will be the question I'm posing right now. Coming into potential lower time frame downtrend. Like I said, very, very messy right now. Yeah, Russell and Dow have bounced, but it's because the small caps are moving a bit more. But the Mag 7 is not in alignment, all right? So look at Mag 7, Tesla 2% down now. Meta 0.6% down, Google 0.6% down, Apple 0.6% down, Nvidia 1.6% up because, like I said, you might have not heard that. SMCI had good earnings, Taiwan, chips looking pretty good. So you got a rotation back into the chip names other than AMD, which got a downgrade this morning. So have to be cautious here. Very high probability of a choppy day. Very high probability of a choppy day. VIX breaking down underneath its lows here. All right, 1583. If it gets a flush, obviously we get a squeeze up on the market. So I would say the edge of demand that I had in from yesterday was about 1573, 1575. So if it comes and tests that, market might continue upside. If it finds bids there, and we get back inside the range. Remember, on a daily chart, all the time we're above previous day high, we have possible expansion. Like I said, we can have failed breakouts on a daily above that previous day high for that rotation lower. And that's what I'd be very, very careful of today. Very careful of. So it looks like some sellers starting to try and come in here versus VWAP. I am anticipating a choppy session here. Especially with a lack of alignment in the Mag 7 as well as multi-time frame alignment. That drive down on the 15-minute, though, did soak off a nice area, but precarious here if it tries to flag and go. I sort of favor a downside melt here to come and back test some of the levels yesterday, just like this. So watching for this continuation lower still. Just scalping out some positions here. I would really like to see us just come and close this gap and then have a runner in case it really wants to melt. That would be ideal here. 400 and under 400 break and we get that liquidation event. Beautiful. Here we go. Bear flag starting to work now versus VWAP. Moving my stop down. I really want to see this buyer at 400 just get absolutely whacked. And then we can go and attack sort of 350s or so. Looking good here. So I expect us to get a break of structure of the low here. All right, low hanging fruit at this low. And then I want to see us come into 400. And then I want to see us just liquidate it hard. Looking good here. Thankful. Very nice trade here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so any bounces, I'm looking to sell bounces now until we liquidate that 400. We have bids underneath into 85. I don't want to get short too low in the session here. Remember, we're at low of day right now, but we just liquidated these guys. This is your gap fill. So I have to be aware of that gap fill. Watching to see if anyone comes on the book lower as a draw of liquidity lower. That's what I'd really like to see. Is anyone going to step up lower? Really want to see just a flush through 400. But that buyer at 400's kind of been filled now. He must have separated orders around. So cautious here in case they set a little pump back up. But I would still prefer lower prices in this session. Beautiful. Come on, get that 400 break. Looking for 400 break. Lovely. Small buyer on the bid, way down at 250, but no notable size here. Really want to see a big order or some big orders start to come in as magnets. All right, so potential trade now. We need to be going back to the higher time frame just to be aware of where you are. All right, on the 5-minute. Remember, buyers came in here for the squeeze, so potentially we trade back into this level. We have to be taking partials into there. That level is old point of control from yesterday. Let's just make sure you can see it. Old point of control from yesterday right here, and this block right here. So covering some into this. If we get heavy under here, we get a rotation down to back test some of the higher time frame demand levels. And remember, there's that big gap up that we had yesterday. This is looking really good now. Lovely, lovely play. Make sure you're paying yourself here, please, team. Make sure you're paying yourself some money here. This was one of the better trades on the session you are going to have, trust me. Nice early move for liquidity. So, failed to squeeze higher, stuck at view up. Flow zones remained red underneath lower time frame algo. Short trigger here, added in here, covering in here, runners only. Reclaim of this, I'll be out, otherwise looking for a wash lower. Remember these white lines across the screen, these are old wicks that I think we can potentially run for if it gets very, very weak. But definitely we have some demand in here because the reaction of that was big. So we know buyers are in these levels, even into these levels now. So make sure you're paying yourself some in case it doesn't want to come for this. It might not. It might be that buyers step up here and go for a return back upside. We are looking very good here. This is why I didn't want to be long bias. Beautiful, beautiful move starting to break down now. So into that 5 o'clock close will be 76. And if we can get weak under that, we're going to aim for 64. And if we get weak under that, we're going to go just for next level down. Lovely, lovely move. Make sure you're paying yourself in these moves, guys. This is beautiful. Most of Mag 7 now red, right? NVIDIA pulling right back, only 0.3% up. So giving back about 2% here. Microsoft very close to going red as well. So heaviness in the market as they start to take profits. Remember the higher time frame, the daily was in a sell. All right, we're in a sell on that daily. That move yesterday was a counter trend long move after a break of structure on the daily. We expect it to come back, test supply, and we expect some sellers to be there. We had those sellers this morning, so we're looking for a trade back downside. Eva, you missed the call. I'm sorry. I was saying I was more short bias this morning, looking for shorts under here, and I was only really thinking about longs if I know shorts were trapped and we could squeeze and base. Right, so all the time flow zones and VWAP and lower time frame is starting to do this. I'm looking for lower prices to liquidity. All right, low hanging fruit trades have now gone. We've closed the gap. This white line is the gap. We even closed the gap if you want to do the futures gap to the 5 o'clock. We've closed both. So I'm runners only for now until we build up more liquidity. The next level for your TP would be down here into 55. But like we said, if we go to the higher time frame, you know that this is yesterday's point of control. We just tagged it. We just tagged yesterday's point of control. This white line here. We know this is where volume was built up yesterday. Buyers will want to step in here and hold it. You have this demand block, this downtrend before we exploded upside right here. Okay, so we know this is an important level. Failure underneath this and retest of it to stay heavy, we look at lower prices. I'm definitely not adding short into levels where buyers might step up. I want to see those buyers get liquidated and become pop sellers for me to add more into this position. Otherwise, runners only right now. Hopefully that makes sense for everyone. And protect your gains here as well, please. Move your stops into the money. I'm really, really sorry that I didn't set that live earlier today. I gave a very detailed breakdown of what I was looking for, but hopefully that 2-3 minute breakdown I did was enough for it to make sense. We can go over it again. If you don't understand why I was slightly more bear biased or chop biased today, I can go over it again. Those in Discord should know. Anyone that's done the course should know. But just look at your daily. I cannot stress this enough to people. You have to understand higher time frame narrative and look to join that trend. They're adding liquidity on the book here at 350. So a 70 lot at 350 and then a little bit thin underneath. Nothing notable. A little bit into 300 and a little bit into and around 275, but nothing of big size here. Crawford, I do the gap I'm mainly interested in, all right, is the cash gap, so the ETF gap. All right, so if you pull up QQQ or SPY and you just take or put it onto regular trading hours, not extended trading hours. That's the gap. The reason I'm interested in that, that's where cash is traded. That's where cash and options are traded in the New York session. So that's the gap I'm interested in. So you'll notice if we get very heavy today, all right, there's a huge gap yesterday from Tuesday to Wednesday, that CPI print, that was pre-market. So we get very thin into that gap. So if we want to backtest lower, it can. But in terms of Wednesday to Thursday, we've closed that gap. I do always mark out the 5 o'clock gap as well, which is the futures gap, but I'm way more interested in that cash gap. But today we are actually just trading into that 5 o'clock gap. But this is the cash gap, this white line here. There's a lesson on it on YouTube. I do a whole lesson for free on YouTube. If you go on my channel to the trading education, find the one that's called cash gaps. Do a big lesson on it. VIX trying to poke up here. All right, so VIX came right to the bottom of that demand block, swept and traded back inside previous day low, now to previous day close. I have to see if it bases out here or not. Finding some sellers so far on the VIX. A little bit of relief here on the market. Like I said, I'm expecting somewhat of a choppy day unless it proves very, very obvious. We zoom out even on an M5 here. Flag, failed flag. Oh, don't do that. Pivot, pivot. There's your break lower. Pivot, there's your break lower. Return in, selling this. Break lower. We expect to return in. They should sell this back down. These are the areas of demand. If they don't and they do this, then this is where shorts will be trapped too low in the day and we return back upside. So very possible they can set a squeeze here. If shorts entered down here, where we know buyers have stepped in multiple times. That is the old point of control. Right, but so far, no reason to be thinking about long right now. I'll say that. Structure is downside. There's no reason to be thinking about a long right now. We're in a sell. Market is heavy. Every push back into flow zones so far has been sold this morning. No close and print above. Fail. Fail. If they hold this and get above here, potential squeeze rotation back up. But it's highly likely we print an inside bar today. Highly likely. Why do I say that? Because yesterday was a monstrous move to the upside. So we're what, like from today's high to yesterday, we are about 700 points higher. So the only way that market is moving higher is if enough shorts are trapped. It's the only way after a move that big. You would have to be absolutely insane to be buying the highs this morning after a move like that. There you go. Glenn Paris, 100 and done. Good morning. Hey, look at where we're bouncing. Anchored view up from yesterday's newsprint low. I love it, Coop. I love it. I don't even need to say anything anymore. You guys know, you guys have done the course, know exactly what you're looking for. Absolutely love it. I have the same thing, but it's on here. On right there. I don't even need to say it. You guys have done the course, are too smart. You know everything now. You don't need me here. Maybe I'll stop streaming. I can just get on with what I need to do. No, I'm only joking. I love trading with you guys. But yeah, Coop is one of my oldest friends from the room. He was the first one to do the course. I've traded with him for years. He is absolutely killing it. Glenn Paris is one of the few traders I know who's sticking to my $100 a day and done play on multiple accounts, just building up your account size until you're able to do $1 million a year or $500,000 in the first year, or for $100 a day per account size and done. Very, very regimented at sticking to it. He's made his money and he's done for the day. That's exactly how to trade. Monthly hedge pressure here, he's saying. I'm just watching these 5 minutes as we trade back to around PDC. These are the key levels. Are we going to get liquidation event lower? But as Coop pointed out, we are holding that anchored view up off the buy signal from yesterday's CPI low. VIX is trying to hold its gains here, though. There is potential for moves lower here on the H1. If we let go of this hourly block, if we let go of 360, a back test into value area low of around 300 as possible. If I just zoom out on the daily or on an hourly, you'll see what I mean. These guys here, this is what the low-hanging fruit was yesterday. When we were looking for these buys yesterday, we were looking to take these guys out. We've taken them out. The question is now, is this the right shoulder? If you were to zoom out, is this the right shoulder? Is it like this and they build the liquidity here, or do they need to come and retest lower here and find bids off there? This would be the preferred move, because I think if we find bids off there, we return back in. Now, if it wants to do a pro trend lower, it's got its lower high on an hourly, lower low, lower high to come and expand lower on a daily. And if it doesn't, all right, if it wants to go upside off that move, then it's actually probably trapped enough shorts in down here to then do that. This is why this would be my preferred move. I'd way prefer market to come back in here, rebalance, and then go up. It doesn't need to do it today. I'm just talking in general over the next 3, 4, 5 sessions. That would be a lovely move. If it's got enough shorts cooked down here, it can just build this liquidity here to go, which is why I'm thinking today can be chop, build that liquidity, and then we either use it tomorrow upside or tomorrow downside, or maybe chop more tomorrow and do it next week. But honestly, I would say that short we had will be one of the easier trades you have today. I really think that. Some days you've just got to be aggressive when it sets up then and there, and then be hands off for a while. Today is one of those days. Do I have a video on the $100 day? Yeah, it's like called something like how to make $500,000 a year or something. Yeah, Tyson, I'm reading that. Well, good that you made money on it because it was an obvious clear trade. Don't get that effort kind of feeling like and go full send. Just pull back a bit. It's okay to be a bit more aggressive in the evals, but just make sure you're very different in your PAs. Okay, so melting down here. Like we said, we can keep going lower. There is clear liquidity for us to aim for. So I would say this Globex low at 53 looks like a very obvious level. And if we get through that, maybe down into 250s. So if you're still holding runners, you're looking very good. This white line here is the low-hanging fruit target, the last target left for the first leg. All right, so this is what it should want to come and attack, this white line right here. Once we take that, we can think about the next level down. $517.5 for QQQ on puts. What, you're buying puts at 517? Or yeah, that breakdown's looking really good. So there you go, attacking that low. So we've just swept this liquidity. So this guy's going to get removed. Beautiful move. So make sure you're paying yourself on these moves down. Looking very good. All right, next level down is all the way down here. All right, the next low-hanging fruit level is this guy and then this guy. That's why we put them in this morning. Don't get too short, too low on the session. All right, just be careful. You're now sweeping all the overnight buyers. They're all out the money now. But we can keep coming and back testing lower. Remember I said on the hourly, I would love this to come much lower. Look at the hourly. Right. It would not surprise me if we do something like this and then set up lower if it's going to do it. So far, those buyers who just decided they were going to buy high this morning and last night when we're 700-800 points higher. Absolute insanity. They're getting cooked. Look at the volume on that last sell. Big exchange down here. No reason to long, like I said. Can you see a reason to long this morning? I can't. I cannot see a reason to long this morning. If it was going to set up the squeeze, it needed to get above this level. It failed and failed. There's your channel. Here are your flow zones. Lower time frame is in a short and higher time frame is in a liquidity build. Like I said, that liquidity build is why I think it's possible that we have chop. Those in Discord will know I said it's possible we have chop today, and that chop can be 200 points plus. That's the scary thing. We're already at 162 points on this initial balance. Yeah, don't worry, small caps. Market's very much like that at the moment. It's so quick and aggressive. Once it decides to go, it just goes like that and it's gone. So you can't chase it. If it goes without you, don't worry about it. But we are coming into and around some of these backtest areas. Value area low from yesterday will be down at 300. You can see here this blue mark. So this is an area where I'm thinking, if we hold this and put in a bullish pattern, I might buy this for a trade back up towards sort of 400, 420s, maybe even 470s. If we don't hold this and we continue to fail, then I'm going to think that maybe we sell down to the next level. All right, so we're playing zones, flow, zone, trader, zone, zone, flow down right now until proves otherwise. A nice reaction there. So sweeping that liquidity underneath 50 or 48 and finding some bids here, trading back inside now. So back to flow zones. VIX failing to break out above 25 there for now. You have to be careful here. Your range is massive. Look at your ATR per 1 minute candle. It's bloody huge. All right. You are still in a downtrend, but if they catch enough shorts too low, that's when they can put squeezes on. You are still in downtrend. Your structure is still bearish on this session. Yeah, very fast moving candle. You're like, what, 40, 50 points? Thank you. So straight up, straight back down. Like I said, no reason to buy, still in a downtrend. But if enough shorts get caught at the lows, it will become clear and obvious. If the shorts get caught down there, it will build here, and then we can think about a rotation. And this will be an initial balance day if we do this, right? This would be an initial balance kind of day, kind of move. But until then, just respect what's in front of you until then. Is trying to build here. It definitely feels a little bit squeezy here, doesn't it? Unwillingness to print lower. What's on the tape here? Mag 7 all still heavy other than Nvidia. Tape very, very thin. No real notable liquidity other than higher. 575, there's 100 lot. 600. Looking for liquidity lower for it to aim for. 150, there is a buyer at 250 and 150. 150 is the number I really would love to see. I doubt we see that today. It is the number I'd love to see based on this high time frame right here, this red arrow around there. That would be beautiful. But the easy trade was the short that we took this morning. I'd probably be runners out now. Just it's showing an unwillingness to move lower right now. You can always re-attack it. I'll probably be runners out. Be very cautious if this starts to squeeze here. Watching a 5-minute and a 15-minute break above here can trigger a squeeze unless it does a failed breakout. Like I said, there are prints higher for it to aim for if it really wants to go. No breakout yet. Initial balance currently 162 points. Momentum still bearish. Right, volume starting to pick up here. If they break this low, you probably get a really nasty snap, because if that was an exchange of volume of buyers trying to hold, a break of this will send it. A break of this also probably sends it. All right, so you've got options here both ways. Retagging that downtrend, that white line is that downtrend on the H1. If it gets through that, we probably squeeze. I am thinking about joining this potentially if it shows a real willingness to move higher. It's going to have to show a real willingness to want to do it. Watching the tape. So every push still failing into that pivot so far. Every pop failing still. Still in downside momentum. Just going to clean some of these up a bit. And if we're going to go lower, 250 and then 150. If we're going to go lower, if we're going to go higher, I want to see it really show a willingness. Cannot just be guessing the lows in this. We'll need a fast acceleration away, a pullback in, and a soak. Something to say, hey, I'm staying around here. I'm not willing to go lower. Otherwise, we can go way, way lower still. Mag 7 still heavy. Microsoft trying to go green, interestingly. So if they're going to build the liquidity, they will build it here. You will need a base above and a hold. And really, you want the flow zones to support this action if it's going to do it. Otherwise, you have targets down here it can aim for. Remember these moves that we had, not yesterday, was it Tuesday? We were 200 points up, 200 points down, 200 points up, 200 points down. Ranges can be very, very big in these markets right now. Watching this very closely if it's going to do this move. Looking very squeezy here. Starting to put some small size on here for this trade upside. Now it's going through 400s. Want to be very, very cautious here. It is counter trend on the session, but potential IB locking in some more money here. Can we trade up to VWAP into 440s on this squeeze? It's just a rotational squeeze. It's counter trend. Be careful. I'm going to respect it into these levels. Above this, then we can think about a move back up here. This is an initial balance kind of trade. I know that IB isn't set yet, but it's that kind of thesis. Shorts too stuck under here and using their stops to go back upside. Can it base out here and start to do this move? Any turn inside, I'm runners out. Obviously, I've paid myself some nice money on these moves. They're counter trends. I'm very aggressive with my stops on counter trends. This is yesterday's point of control as well. So we did sweep overnight lows. We did sweep H1 levels. We are holding yesterday's point of control. If bulls are going to come back in high, then this is the place they need to come back in. Looking good here, coming into deep pullback flow zones. If you're in this, just pay yourself a little bit of money. These candles are much bigger than you probably think. These are 30, 40 point M1 candles. Nothing wrong with paying yourself a little bit. If we get stuck at VWAP, be careful. But you would want to see this trade through VWAP. And then PDH. And then these pivots into 72s. Failure to do that, it has a chance to move lower. So like I said, this was counter trend. This is me playing ranges, right? Ranges are very, very tricky to play. This is looking good here. Very, very good. So this is what I'm really playing off. Hopefully you can see it. Remember we said buyers came in here. We think about this as a level. We know buyers came in here. We've swept overnight lows, and I'm trying to sell some into this push towards 30 and VWAP. Hopefully that makes sense for you all. Very, very simple. This is a strong buying support because look how aggressive the move away from it was. So once we pivoted over here, I was looking to buy into just under 400 for the squeeze up. Paid myself. I'm right down to runners now. One left. That's it. If it proves itself and wants to go, that's great. But otherwise, that was the squeeze up and over and might be done. Like I said, must pay yourself into deep pullbacks. Right? These are fib levels that sellers like to sell into. Right? So some people play these momentums. Algo play the momentums. Fib sellers are selling these deep pullbacks. Pro trend will happen if we get a cross through here. When we get that, normally triggers bigger moves. Expecting chop today, remember. Yeah, Dixie's pretty much flat on the session. Brian, let me have a look at what it actually looks like, though. Yeah, underneath PDO. Dixie's just been in a range for like, when's this? Since Tuesday. Put in a pivot low, potentially trying to do an inverse head and shoulder for a drive back upside. But it needs to hold really around 109, just under 109 on the Dixie. If it does that for that inverse head and shoulder trades upside, market can go risk off. But like correlation with Dixie started to become almost useless recently. Just not as it's going way further than I thought it would go up to that 110 before it found that sell. But I think we'll get correlation start to come back after the 20th. More correlation. I think a lot of it was due. We've just risk on every asset, which is crazy. Risk on gold, risk on Dixie, risk on NQ, risk on ES, risk on Bitcoin. There was no hedge. Just ultimate greed in the market. I'm stopping out here, guys. I'm going to take this one. Run off now. There we go. Just let this shake out. Nothing confirmed or just playing an edge, really. Very, very early trade for a little squeeze up. But it's crazy. That little squeeze up from 80, 45 points in seconds. Madness. But yeah, watching the high time frame now. Do we get something like this? How do we react here? Or do we just build out here, sweep some, and start to do this? I don't know, but I don't love upside today in this session. Not right now. Not other, I mean, as in a pro trend upside. Like, I know I just took a long counter trend for that little squeeze up, but I would much rather be thinking about buying down here. I'd love to be buying down here. Because I think even if we're not going to go bullish in the market, if we're going to stay as a bear, I think this move is likely, and then they can sell this. And if we get through it, we go back up. So I have to know when your setups are A+ and when they're not. Like yesterday was an A+ day. We absolutely nailed it on stream. And I'm telling you, off stream, we slapped the market higher all session yesterday. I can show you in this. Where did we come to? This pullback here, we called this. Oh, let's get you here. We called this long in Discord yesterday. You had this buy signal. And I said through here, this is TP1. And if we base above that, then we go for IB high. And then we aim for the H1 supply level. And we did all of it. And then it rolled over into a sell. We call all this move. This, all of these longs. Just so nice yesterday. It was just so clear and obvious. I don't understand these people on Twitter or X saying yesterday was a really hard CPI day. It was not. It was a very nice day. It was a very easy read if you were watching the higher time frames. Today is a harder day. Much harder day to trade today. because we need to build liquidity because we've just taken it all. We spent yesterday and last night taking all supply away. Now we need to build liquidity, which means we need traders trapped in the market. Notice how we're building out more of a range at the bottom here. We're building liquidity. Momentum still downside right now. Steal of liquidity, trading inside. If it stays heavy here, possible trade down. If it gets above this, then maybe the trade upside. Again, very, very tricky now because it needs to build stops into the market. Is this trade into point of control and underneath the overnight levels? Is this enough to move higher? That's what they're posing as the question. If it's not, we go lower. Much harder day to trade than yesterday. Yesterday was super nice, super clean, very obvious. High probability of an initial balance type of day here. So you've only got 10 minutes or just over 10 minutes left until we set that initial balance. Sell it on the tape at 430s. Small buyers on the tape at 250 and 150, but much smaller size. Remember, the days we're moving big size, we're moving fast, is when I'm seeing 200 lots stacked up and 100 lots stacked up. We had like 1,000 lots to aim for yesterday. Numerous times they were on the tape there, making it very obvious where they wanted trades to come into. We don't have that today because, like I said, today is the kind of day that if you were long yesterday before CPI and after CPI and you are able to swing your swing long, you're just letting momentum continue higher. You've made a lot of money and you're not adding new long positions until we back test some key levels. So these are the days where it needs to build out chop. Like, just think from a daily standpoint. Traders who are long here and here and here, they're massively in the money. Why would you want to add long up here? We've not even back tested anything and we're in supply and we're in a fib of the swing. It's a big no-no to be adding long into a golden pocket, isn't it? We don't want to long there. We're thinking about sells there back down into value. And this is why traders get stuck. So if enough longs got trapped up here, we sell deeper. If enough shorts are getting trapped here, we can squeeze up. But ideally, we want to back test down here. Boom. And then we can think about a long back up. And then either we build a range out or we squeeze or we continue the downtrend. But notice the Bollinger and this Bollinger are going to get tighter. And this kind of play here is highly likely. When the Bollinger bands start to tighten, we get this bull come in, 5-day does this, 20-day does this, you get a contracting market. And after a contracting market, so many stops are built in, boom, boom. These trades become possible. These huge trend trades become possible. You need everyone trapped in the market for a nice trade. Yesterday, we had shorts trapped in the market and we had breakout longs coming in for a pump upside off good news. Yesterday was a very easy day to stay long. Today is not an easy day to stay long. All right, I'll be long if we come all the way down into this. This is 250, 150, and maybe 250. I'll think about a long here, but this would be mega. Otherwise, I'm just expecting range rotation, all right, until one side gets trapped. If enough shorts get trapped down here and we start to base out and the VIX starts to fail of days, then maybe we get a rotation. But again, rotation will be to IB high. Through IB high, it will be to overnight high. Anything up here, very unlikely. Would be a monster squeeze to do that today. You're talking about over 200 points again into this structure here. Unlikely. You would need so many shorts trapped, and in my opinion, you probably need a news event to do that. So Aid saying, I think he meant God, my daily bread. Got your daily bread. Thanks for another awesome read, Alex. See you tomorrow. Yeah, catch you tomorrow, Aid. Nice work. Morning, Foster Scott. Good to see you back. Hope you've been good, my friend. Sure you've been busy with work. And Kathy Floor saying, I explain everything so well. Thank you so much. Well, hopefully it makes sense to you. All you're looking at with candlesticks is really, other than obviously price, is really psychology of who's in the market and where they are. You need to understand people's pain points. Where is value? Where is value? If there is, I don't know, try and give an example. Let's say you're saving up for an item. Let's say, let's just make it simple. Let's say a house or a car, something with some value. Are you going to buy that car the moment it comes out and it's an overinflated price because everyone suddenly wants that car? Everyone wants it because it's been hyped up. Everyone's talking about it. If you buy that car, let's say it's at 150k pre-order because of the hype. Well, you know, the moment you buy it, it's lost 50 grand of that. So now it's worth 100k. And then you give it another year and no one wants the car because they realize that car's a bit shit. Right? And now it's worth 50k. And eventually it's so far on sale that you can buy it cheap at 40k and, you know, hold it onto it for a year and you're going to sell it for 80k. That's exactly the same as the market. It's basic psychology. Do you want to buy an overinflated market at highs? Yesterday, exuberance came into the market. We had a cool CPI print. Everyone was like, buy, 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 buy. We can run this back up. It made sense to run it back up. But everyone late to the market today was like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to buy it now. Momentum's upside. No, 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 my friends. It's not on sale anymore. Very simple. John Dennis, $1,275 times 3 once again. Thank you, Sensei. Great work, John. All right, so all these regulars to the stream, the regulars in Discord are banking every single day. Repeatable patterns, very, very repeatable patterns. You have just under 7 minutes left until the initial balance is set. Like I said, it's highly probable the IB will be this on the day. And then do we just do this? Failed breaks below, failed breaks above, and trends will be if there's a very clear continuation. But my high probability is a choppy session. Morning, activate. NQ came back down. Yeah, NQ came back down, as it should have. So we're just basing out here in a range around. This is kind of your range here. Fail break below, fail break above. Here is your pattern. Nothing clear here, nothing obvious. It's just a range. So I don't love trading ranges. So I'm hands off. Had a very good day yesterday. Do I need to be aggressive today? It's what I always ask myself. Not every day is the same. We said it in Discord before the open. Just remember that. Not every day is the same. You can only trade what's in front of you. If you are looking to make the same big trades you made yesterday, you are likely to get stuck today. Five minutes left until the IB, trading towards the midpoint of this New York session. This New York session is still just under 162 points. So 161 points and 3 ticks. But we are currently trading underneath the 20-day, underneath the VWAP, underneath the 5-minute flow zones, underneath deep pullback flow zones, underneath momentum clouds. But that can change very quickly if they want to do a rotation back to VWAP, back to IB high. Seller on the book at 430 right now, 50 lot there. So he's just above these stops, is he? Yeah. All right, so he was looking for a squeeze, and then probably a rotation back down to IB low. That's what that seller is looking for. I'm not looking for anything right now. I'm not looking at this chart thinking I really want to trade this. I'm not looking at this chart thinking that. I think we had the best possible trade today. Bear flag here, we took this, stopped out, re-engaged once this failed, added into this, and then runners here, and then you're done. Right, swept that liquidity that we talked about. That's a good trade. 1 and done, 2 and done, whatever it is, that's a good trade in this session. So VIX holding its PDL so far, still in a range very much like this. It will become clear and obvious when it's ready. All right, if this is going to be a giant bear flag, it will become clear and obvious. But just remember, by the time you get here, it might be that initial balance rules apply and you need to be careful of a failed auction under. If it's going to be an auction, it's going to come to here. And then underneath this, if it wants to go deeper, we have liquidity stops here and demand structure in here. But I'd be very, very cautious about a failed auction in this session. Again, low time frame momentum remains bearish. We have not flipped above these. And this is definitely a range down here until it proves otherwise. Activate. Just remember, market doesn't need to give you that. So shoulda, woulda, coulda. I need this might force your mentality into forcing a trade. Just play what's in front of you. You don't need anything. You can get that trade tomorrow if it's a cleaner setup. Just remember that. Don't be a slave to the charts. Don't try and force your opinion into the charts. Dean Windsor, good morning. I wait until IB was over to trade today. I hope all is well. Yeah, the IB is still yet to be set. Another couple minutes. And then we can think about it. But I don't think that is a bad idea. Understanding the range in the New York session is not a bad idea today, Dean. How many of you got some of those shorts with me? Give me some W's in chat. If some of you got some of those shorts with me, we had to be quick today to get them. But hopefully some of you got them. They're very, very nice moves. Like I said, I think those are probably the easiest moves on the day. Aid got it. Andrew got it. Lovely. Marek got it. Thumper got it. Yeah, the obvious move to the liquidity was, honestly, it might well be the best trade of the day. Minix got it. Love it. Love it, guys. Same people over and over again. It's great work. Yeah, I don't dislike that idea, Foster Scott. I was thinking the same, but once we started showing our hand here, we took this and this down to the liquidity pool for the sweep of 56. This. That was a nice move. "20 seconds until your IB is set. It's likely to be this, all right? Unless we get a huge candle in the next 10 seconds. We're likely to just be trading inside the initial balance. So then you got to think, are you brave enough to take an edges pay type of trade? That's what's scary in this market, trying to play the IBL for a rotation back up. It's very, very scary in this market. Ian, it's the initial balance, right? See this IB low? It's your initial balance. It's your first hour of trading in the New York session, right? So this sets the balance of traders. So when we're inside this, we can expect rotation. So from IB low to VWAP, from VWAP maybe to IB low or to IB high. When we're outside of the initial balance, we can expect potential trend. And if we come outside and inside, this is what's known as a failed auction, and then you might get a rotation. So there is a video for it for free on my YouTube. You can do how to trade initial balance. It's quite a popular video. Might be worth you checking that out. So flow zone starting to flatten out a bit here. Notice how we've gone from nice sell confirmed trend into starting to go sideways. Everything's starting to go sideways in a range. So for those who like trading trend and pullback, that is not really what you want to see. Can we get a liquidation break? Potentially. Like that just back tested it. If they get a fail to IB low, that's lovely. Under IB low, under IB low. For me, I'm not in a trade. I'm not interested in trading this right now. I'm going to be very cautious today. Got chopped up going short at 9:38 to be exact. Stopped out 9:40. 9:38. So yeah, that's unfortunate. So you took this one, stopped out into this move. See, once it did this and reattacked, you could have got back in here. So it's okay to be wrong. There's nothing wrong with stopping out there. I think I stopped out on a runner there, and then I reattacked that move down. That's why if you're not using too much size, you can be nimble, take the trade off, or can always get back in. As long as you're okay with being wrong, you can always get back in. Especially in like this was cheeky, wasn't it? A dump to pump. If we did a measuring move in that, it's probably 50 or golden. So into the golden and then sold from here back down. So it wouldn't do the 30% flag, didn't even do 50, had to go all the way back up deep into the golden. It's a little squeeze trigger above here and then trap buyers above here and then failed. So you can always get back in. Don't be scared about getting back in. I'd much rather you stop out and get back in. Then you're one of these traders like, I'm short and I'm ad and I'm ad and I'm ad and ad and I'm ad and I'm blown up and now it's gone my way. Why didn't I just wait? All too common story. Stop out, get back in. Yeah, Glenn. Yeah, the nice thing about IB high and IB low is they can offer very, very cheap trades. Very cheap trades when they come. We're just building out liquidity here, which is a good thing, building this out, because if we get a breakout, there's lots of volume. Point of control will be in here, no doubt. Point of control now on the session 404, so top side of this. VIX back to previous day low. Remember, we're holding on right now. Previous day close, we're holding on. Anchored VWAP off that CPI, we're just about holding on. If you want it on the screen, I can put that on actually because it's only on my Ninja. If we go from CPI candle, there's your anchored VWAP. All right, so we're trading back into it. So the buyers off CPI, this is their average price right now. If they've added into this whole move, that blue line. So it looks like it wants to try and attack that IB low here. And then you have to see if bids step up if you get an auction or failed auction. Remember, an auction lower, you have some liquidity to aim for down here. I would say 21 to 255 becomes key. Value area low on yesterday, 307. So like low threes, and then a sweep would be much, much lower. But let's just see. Way too early in the day to even be calling that right now. So far, we are proving nothing but a range day. We would like to see an inside bar print. All right, so ideally an inside bar print on this day. I know we extended it overnight, but so far on New York session, we're trading inside. Looking good. I love how knowledgeable the chat is now. It makes my life a lot easier because when people ask questions, there's lots of guys who have done the course who can really help. Lower low at the top of consolidation. You mean this? Yeah. Then you could argue this. You could argue a break underneath, but really for me, I just see it as this. Failed breaks above, failed breaks below so far. Tightening of range in here. That's how I view price action like this. Every time we've come above here, we failed to get above and base for a squeeze. Every time we've come into this low, we've failed to get below and drop down. We just return in. So it's a tightening of a range. So really 30, 40 point range so far until proves otherwise. For pro trend, is it best safest to wait until flow zones table identify a higher time frame change? On here, it depends on the time frame you're looking at. Like if we were looking at yesterday, you could argue the pro trend yesterday was a sell. I know that seems weird, but if you went to a daily, all right, daily chart is in a sell, but we were anticipating, go to this daily, let's move it down. We were anticipating after a break of structure, think about how a wave moves, right? Every time we get a break of structure, we anticipate a turn back inside before a move lower. So yesterday we're anticipating short stuck in here for a turn back inside. So the pro trend technically on the daily is still down. But yesterday was clearly in a buy, right? It was clearly in a buy. So once, I would say here, once these flow zones get above the lower time frame algorithm, this is your signal. Start buying these pullbacks for these moves up. Start buying the pullbacks. Well, that was even overnight, sorry. Here, the same. Once we hold the lower time frame algo and the flow zones pop, start buying pullbacks. Pullbacks into structure. You should only be thinking long when it's clear and obvious. The clear thing is, look at the separation between the flow zones, the deep pullback, and the algo lines. Nice separation, even overnight, nice separation. Now, probably not much separation. Yeah, they've gone from nice separation to starting to get a little bit sideways. Let's get into it down here. Although we're trying to build into a trend a bit more here, but we're still inside the IB. If these separate violently, then you know we've got a big trend under here potential. But all the time we're holding here, building liquidity. Liquidity is built, by the way, between the lower time frame and the higher time frame algorithm. Lower time frame algorithm is here, higher time frame is here. So the market likes to build and chop liquidity between these zones. We will be pro trend bullish technically above the lower time frame algo if flow zones get up there. But just remember, at that point, you are still in supply. What we're really expecting today is just a liquidity building day. That's what we're expecting today. Or as Jack Hudkins just said, super chop, which I agree with. It's exactly what we're expecting today after a big move. Super chop. We need liquidity to make a move, right? We need, if we're going to go lower, we need buyers stuck here because their stop will be low of day. So once we get to them, they liquidate. What do you do when you're a buyer and you stop out? You sell. Boom. We get that move. That move, those sells might well be absorbed by higher time frame buyers who are like, we need them to sell. Remember, if thousands of people sell here and higher time frame smart money is looking to buy, they can buy that stop run without being seen in the market and go back upside. I'm not saying it happens there, but that's why we build liquidity in general. It's so that people who have big position sizes can get into the market without being seen. Remember, you need a market to pair off to move. It must pair off correctly to move. If that concept is confusing for chat, let me know and I will just explain it in more detail and maybe in a more simple way to make it make sense. Just let me know if that concept, if you're like listening to that thinking, what is this guy on about? Just let me know and I'll do a little lesson because I'm not really too fussed about this price action right now, as you can probably tell. Knowing when to trade for me is probably the most important thing. So far, we are protecting that IBL. We're trading back up to the top of the range. Now we're trading back down inside that last big candle print to the upside. We're just inside range. Nothing here I want to do right now. We made good money. I made some decent money on those sales this morning. I remember when we had those sales, when we were short this morning, we were saying this is probably the best move of the day. It's probably going to be the early, easy move to the liquidity pools unless something drastically changes. But if we build out enough chop here for a long enough and we get a liquidation event, we can get some nice moves later on. It might be in the afternoon session. But my preference would it be just trap traders all day long and then offer a nice trade tomorrow. Do we have news tomorrow? We might have some news tomorrow. I didn't think we had much this Friday, but let's have a little look-see. No, not really. Building permits, not interested. Nothing important tomorrow. So let's see. Maybe it'll just be a liquidation break. If not, might have a double sort of consolidation day today, tomorrow, before a move next week, unless things change. Best move is now waiting to break the IB and retest again. So with the initial balance, they will either protect it or they fail underneath and trade back inside. This would be a long back inside to VWAP. Or they liquidation break down and ideally down, retest down, something like that. Those are your options if you're going to play initial balance. All right, so you're looking for break retests, or failed auctions, failed breakouts. Where can you aim for if you're going to get a break? Let's have a little look. All right, so that's your IB low, 37s. Remember, you've swept overnight lows. I'd be very cautious because you've swept that, but maybe you have these liquidity pools down here. Maybe, if it's a true rollover. If we think about just, let me do a couple of measuring fibs here from yesterday's lows. See, I don't like that. I can still build a flag in that range. Yeah, it's tricky. There's liquidity it can aim for, but it's tricky. Definitely not something clear and clean and obvious now that we've swept London. But if we get beneath here and start to build out like this, we can think about lower. Yesterday's value area around 300 is looking pretty good if it really wants to give a bit of a liquidation break here. But so far, it's protecting really well. VIX trading back upside, back to previous day close of 1610. So VIX starting to coil very tightly as well. Very similar pattern here. So it's inside of IB. It's at its flow zones. It's between PDC and PDL. It's just tightening the range. Everything's tightening the range. Crush the VIX Friday. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, although it was only, how many weeks ago did we do that absolute puke out on Friday? And those VIX traders on the Friday who were playing for that got absolutely nailed. On the 10th, they were looking for that pump back up and they got absolutely wrecked. Everyone talks about that VIX Crush Friday. Definitely not something that I play. I have a weekly model. I kind of stick to that weekly model. My anticipation is that we probably close inside this week. We're definitely not revisiting lows of week. No chance. Even if we close gap, we're not going back to lows of week. So we can, I'm pretty sure we can safely say weekly model is in place here. For those who trade in the room with me or doing the course, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Lovely to see this stream growing. I can't even talk. Growing. Slowly but surely growing. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Here, Monday to Friday, we've had some nice calls early on stream. Some of you, if you're joining late, probably thinking this is pretty slow, but the market's slow. I'm not going to tell you to get into positions if the market's slow like this. We're in a rotational market, all right? We're just inside of the initial balance. The market's job today is to make you lose money. It's to trap you in this market. It's to make you get pissed off that it's ranging backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and stop you out, make you oversize. And then when it's ready, whether that's today, tomorrow, or Monday, it's going to run your stops. All right, that's the market's job today. It's Got a very strict job, trap people. The spiders and the QQQ are just basing out underneath their VWAPs. All right, so they keep testing the VWAP and they keep failing. So on the ETFs, they cannot get above the VWAPs right now. Microsoft having another attempt at going green on the day. Apple now 2.5% down on the day. No one likes that stock right now. Incredible. So Tesla 3.3% down. Nvidia 0.2% up. Remember, the semiconductors had good earnings overnight. Meta 0.7% down. Google 0.4% down. Amazon almost flat. Again, relative strength in that name looks good. If we go back to a bullish market, I would be a buyer on Amazon personally. It looks very, very strong. Microsoft just about green, and Apple 2.5% down, getting absolutely whacked. Yeah, I mean, I think it was in a sell before that, and I don't disagree with him either. Like, they haven't done anything for a while, and I should probably watch what I say a little bit there, seeing as my wife works for them, but I'm sure they'll come with something. But, you know, normally, other than iPad, iPhone, or iPod, iPhone, they're normally late to market and better to market. So we have to see what goes on with the Vision Pro. But right now, that has not been a success. He would be right there. They're still monstrous. They still do monster sales, but there is lots of choice now when it comes to your smartphone, isn't there? Huge amount of choice. A lot will depend on this chip that they've got. They stop relying on Samsung. Can they stop relying on the other chip makers? Will that increase, long-term, increase their net rev? So all the market now red. All right, Mag 7's just completely gone red now. Bitcoin trying to have that poke. Did it poke up over 100K again overnight? I missed that. Oh, it's back over 100K this week. I didn't even see that. Lovely move. So back to the IBL here. So now you're looking, you're thinking auction or failed auction. Very, very simple. Auction or failed auction. So QQQ NQ is at it. ES not there yet. So remember, market, the Mag 7 are weak, which is why the NQ is weaker than the ES right now. Banking sector's been good. We've had earnings the last 2 days. Banking sector has looked pretty strong on earnings, which is why the SPY, the ES will hold up a little bit better. There's absolutely no finance sector in the Qs. So weaker based on tech right now in the Qs. But it does look like a little bit like a small bloodbath, but definitely a bloodbath out there. When I look at the ES, the NQ, RTY, YM, SPY, QQQ, even the VIX and the Dixie, all right, they're all red. Gold, the only thing up today, up 1%. So still a safe haven. None. I've got absolutely none on that. It just, most of the time, those are sell the news events. Based on the last 5 years, I would say. Normally you get a pump in the run up into it, and then it's a sell the news event. But what I would say is there's bigger events than that coming from the 20th, right? So who knows? Who knows, my friend? So far, we're protecting that IBL. All right, so didn't even snap below, haven't stolen any liquidity, protecting the initial balance low. So far, it's unwilling to trade beneath it. All right, so this range continues to build out. It will continue to chop up traders here. If you look at the SPY, most of the traders playing SPY, other than that big push down, you're in really about a 2-point range here on the SPY. All right, so not good for options traders either. All right, they're going to get burnt out on time decay. Again, here is the majority of your range around here. Failed underneath, failed underneath, failed above, failed above, failed above, failed above. Eventually, something will give. Am I interested in playing this range? No. Technically, what what should you be doing? Technically, you should be thinking about, can I trade edges? If we're going to trade range, you should be thinking about, can I trade edges? But there's nothing bullish here to let me really play an edge. But if you're a dip buyer, you can have a cheap stop versus the IBL and try and trade back to the top side of that. It's not a bad trade, really, is it? But it's not my favorite trade. Those of you who are here every day know my favorite trades. I love those pro trends. I love when one side is absolutely cucked. And I just participate in giving them max pain. Yesterday was one of those days. So all the ETFs still trapped underneath VWAP. Everything just doing a tight little dance right now. I've literally got no interest in trading this team. That doesn't mean you can't. But if you're sitting here for the first time on stream thinking, God, this guy's boring, why doesn't he take a trade? It's because there's no setup here for me. All right, we have traded. If you rewind, right, I looked for a short here, covered, break even. Let this fail, got back in short for this move down, added back in here, covered some here, and then we were aiming for the liquidity of those lows around 52s and all out here, right? There was no rotation further down, and now we just chop, right? This was the sweep. There was a sweep there of the overnight low, all right? Since we've swept that, we've failed to print lower. That was the low-hanging fruit right here into that move. Go back and rewind the stream if you need to. If you're joining late, you'll see the trades that we had. Unfortunately, I didn't give you a good breakdown this morning. Well, I did, but I didn't hit go live on OBS for some reason. Even though I said broadcast, I didn't hit go live. So I gave you a nice 10-15 minute detailed breakdown of the market, and then I looked at chat and realized no one could hear me. So we had to cram through it today. But the main thesis today was based on the daily chart. All right, daily chart giving you the clues. Just dancing around. So if you've got any questions, there's any subjects you want to go over, happy to look at them now while the market trades sideways. You've got a new hourly bar coming in just over 6 minutes. Maybe you get some movement in the market at that point. But really, we're trading between overnight point of control and yesterday's point of control. Very tight range here. Remember, the last few days we've been doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 point ranges. Today, from the IB high to the IB low, it's 161 points and 3 ticks. That's all you've got. It's still decent, but compared to recently, much smaller. And not much liquidity on the book. What I would say is there is 100 lot up higher, just in front of 575, which is precarious. That is all the way up there. I cannot imagine that getting filled today. 575, let's have a look. So that's the overnight high. I guess it's not out the question if we set an IB squeeze. It would have to be pretty monstrous to do this and a base here, and then we can go for it. But for now, doesn't look like something possible in my mind based on what I'm seeing here. Market just seems very, very calm today. Just a consolidation day. Chat, you're so quiet. You're so quiet. Hopefully it's because you all made your money this morning and you've stopped trading rather than sitting here secretly trading, getting chopped up. I really hope that's because you're being quiet because you made your money already. Where would squeeze relief come? Maybe something like this. But I'm still not convinced. Remember, the main part of this range is here. Every time we've got up here, we've found sellers. Every time down here so far, we've found buyers. Until that changes, I'd be very cautious about initiating anything at all. So 4 minutes until you get that new hourly bar here. Yeah, exactly, Coop. Exactly. I know it makes for a terrible stream, but I could sit here peacocking, talking all kinds of crap, trying to make you guys lose money, and then pushing my affiliate codes, or I could just tell you that I'm not interested in this, which makes for such terrible entertainment, doesn't it? Terrible entertainment. Yeah, I mean, small caps. That's good trading, man. That's great trading. You've recognized that it's a tight range. You're about to close it down for the day. You're small green. You don't want to give back. That is good trading. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, Idris saying he's getting chopped up. He's just in sim, which is fine. This range is tight and not fun. Yeah, absolutely. So use these lessons. It's good that you're doing it in sim. Use these lessons to recognize when we have days like this, maybe it's a time to not trade, not unless it's obvious. Now, the trade that this often does, we talk about every day, is IB to VWAP. Whether it does this VWAP, let's just do another anchor from the 930 to make sure. What's the 930 print right here? Which is just done technically. So if it wants to squeeze a bit more, it'll go to the top VWAP, and then it has to see if it resets there. All right, so fairly, like I said, if you're playing the IB, I talk about this in the course. There are lots of lessons on this. This was technically a cheap trade here. If you wanted to long that versus the initial balance with a move to VWAP, it's a highly probable trade. It's not a trade that I love, but it's a highly probable trade. I would call this like a B or C criteria trade, but it's very cheap. So there's your anchored VWAP off the 930 low. I'm going to get rid of this. Off the 930 low. If it holds this, we can extend to the extended hours VWAP. Don't do that, Alex. Jesus. And then you have to see, do sellers come back in here? Remember, from here, this was your drop base, right? So this is where intraday sellers were. So as we were selling earlier, every time we've returned in there so far, we found selling somewhere in here so far. So then does it do this for return to IB, or does it just melt back down to IB low? Again, range rotation. Range rotation rules apply all the time. We're inside of that initial balance. Another easy thing to do if you're really struggling when we do this, just move to a higher time frame. Go to a 10-minute. Is there something there that you want to trade? 15-minute, 30-minute. Nothing there. Look at that 30-minute bar. That is an indecision bar if I've ever seen one. 50% outside each side. It's going to look to trade the top side of this range now. Can it squeeze back up to VWAP? This is the old downtrend. I'm going to get rid of this, but that's the H1, uptrend that it was holding that we've broken underneath on the H1. Now trading back upside towards that VWAP. So if you did take that, congratulations. Any of you in the course that did take this trade, it's good RR back to here. It's a very nice trade that. We must, I know we talk about that trade every day on stream. I mentioned the IB trade every single day on stream. So protected the low that time, didn't sweep, and just expanding upside. So far, I would say now intraday shorts are stuck down here, trying to force that low. This pivot here, this is what opened the gate up to here. So now the question is, do they base here and go for the next level and next level? But now you're at 50%, or just over 50% of the initial balance range. So tagging into VWAP here. Kathy on the 5-minute. Yeah, 5-minute. 5-minute, very, very clear of chop. Yeah, this is the 5-minute. So on a line chart, you'd need this to hold now, but now you have to respect this level here. This is where sellers were. It's where we sold this morning. Does it do this? If it does this, then you can think about attacking IB high. If it does this, then we go back to the low. It's messy. This price action is messy. It's the best way of putting it. I doubt I'll even make it to lunch with you today. This is terribly boring, but we will see. We'll see, team. Maybe we can get something here. You never know. Maybe we get something. So tagging VWAP there on the Qs. ES is through the VWAP. SPY and QQQ also through the VWAP. Having a little look at VIX. VIX breaking down to its IBL. Again, if VIX is going to get a trend down, it can continue to 1575. I'd be very cautious about reaction there. W on that up. Yeah, like here would be good. Deeper, even better. A hold of here for that expansion. But maybe they've trapped enough shorts down here. But just remember, if you're in this long, that's fantastic work. But make sure you're paying yourself, right? Inside of IB, make sure you're paying yourself. Your next level of liquidity would be up here in towards 70s. And if you take that out in towards the IB high, if you take out IB high and you base above, maybe then we can think about that Globex, that Asia, or is it Asia or London, that London high. Maybe then we can think about that London high. But we're still just in part of a leg. And we're still really just trading from here to here. And there is supply that we came into this morning. This is what we kept tagging when we were selling down this morning. So if it's going to be truly bullish, it will have to build out above these guys. Remember, these sellers, we need to build out above them so they become buyers in the market. And to take this guy, and then we really need to trade all the way up here and then build liquidity, maybe above it, and that. Otherwise, can just fail back down, can fail all the way back down. This is a very nice move, though, off that initial balance low. If you're in this, congratulations. Very nice long. Like I said, it was a cheap trade if you took it. It was a cheap trade. It's not a trade I love. I teach it, but it's not a trade I absolutely love. But it was a cheap trade. We should probably put in the 9:30 open. So IB high is effectively the initial balance high. Is effectively the New York Open on the day. Tagging back into previous day high here. Notice this here. Tagging back into previous day high. Out of interest, did any of you take that initial balance move? Did any of you take that long? Hopefully some of you took it. So very nice long now. You're up about 100 points. That happened quick. Lovely. Priska took it. Lovely work. Yeah, it works. You know, it's a good strategy. It works. It's cheap. You didn't have to risk much there for that move. As we continue to squeeze higher now, starting to feel like shorts are in a little bit of trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if some sellers come back in. Peter Curry took it. Lovely. You're looking for a runner to IB high. Yeah, very nice. I just watched this. Make sure I'm on the right chart. I am not. I would just watch where we found these sellers earlier. But yeah, if you can get all the way back up there towards New York Open, that would be amazing. If it starts to squeeze through New York Open and bases above IB high, maybe we go for that overnight high. Thanaden took it as well. Good work. Good work. Tagging into previous day high here. VIX breaking down now. VIX really starting to break down. All right, just bear with me, team. I'm just going to grab another coffee and I'll be right back. Be smart, all right? If you're in runners, be smart. Use your stop. Move it up. Don't be giving your whole day back. All right, and we're back. We're back. Nice. Ramus got some of it. Peter Curry, 1 micro left, banked on it. Lovely. Yeah, it's a beautiful trade, actually. It is a beautiful trade. So what I'd be watching very, very carefully now is this H1. If this H1 is going to give you a continuation, right, if we can do something and base up here for this move, it would be lovely. I'd much rather see that move happen tomorrow. Much rather have done this and set this up for tomorrow. But let's see, But it's looking pretty good. Just making sure you pay yourself like we always talk about as you come back up towards those highs. Jeff with the W. Nice work, guys. Honestly, that might even be a better trade than the shorts we took this morning. It required patience, but it is a setup. There is a clear setup there. If you go down, there is a clear buy signal here once it holds here as well. This pivot here, there is a nice buy signal. If you just play the signals in front of you, protecting this low, that's a beautiful move. Congratulations. All that took that, everyone who's done the course, who's using the flow zones, lovely work. Nice, Kathy. Good work. So like I said, I won't always trade everything in front of me, especially if I feel like I've taken the low-hanging fruit on the day. You would have noticed I did the same yesterday. I made my money early, traded a bit in the afternoon, but once I make good money early in the session, I just calm right down. But happy to teach you and talk you through those setups all the time. Had I not got those shorts for the rotation in off the open, then I probably would have been a bit more likely to take that long. All right, so ES now taking its IB high. It's just swept everything on the ES. So you have divergence, right? So ES has just done this. So be careful here. Make sure you're paying yourself some money. We're still inside of rotation. This can come all the way back down to VWAP. And if it fails VWAP, it can come all the way back down to that IBL. Dean got 5 points on ES. Yeah, 5 points on ES is great. Right, so if you entered at sort of 90 or VWAP and got that move up, any of those moves up, good work. VIX finding some bids now. So the key now, I'm watching the VIX. If it rejects that pivot low into around 1580 IB low, somewhere around that to go lower, market can squeeze higher. If VIX just turns right back inside the range, we're going to go straight back inside that lower end of the range and chop on the market. There are some bids coming in. Nvidia back up 0.7%. Remember, all of the Mag 7 went red. Amazon up 0.5%. I keep talking about Amazon. It is strong. In days we're selling, Amazon's holding up. Keep an eye on that. If you're looking for swing buys, that's looking very, very good for relative strength. Microsoft with a bounce here as well. Apple continues to be heavy. Apple and Tesla both down 2.5% on the day. All right, they both are heavy. Great work, Peter. All right, there is a magnet above, right? 21,500. It's just come on the book not long ago. The 100 lot up there. So he's looking to get filled right at that, above that IB high on the Qs. Whether it does it or not is a whole different ball game, isn't it? But that's where he's looking to get filled, right up there. So I'd be watching, see if they hold. Well, they've already really held so far. So do they hold this? Remember, from a structure-wise, do they hold this? A trap would be underneath. Otherwise, if we stay heavy and we rotate all the way back down, VWAP going to be key here in general. Looking really good. Look where we're returning into as well. This level here, key. So this was chopped once we got above it. If we go down to lower time frame, you'll see it. Once we got above it, pull back, pull back. Can we take this liquidity or not? So if you're struggling to see the patterns, use a line chart or use a 1MA on your bar chart. It will really, really help you. Just a bit of advice. If you're struggling to see support and resistance, if you're struggling to see supply and demand, if you're struggling to see the ranges, just put a line chart next to your bar chart if you have room, or put a 1 moving average, 1 SMA on your chart. You can make it nice and thick. It will show you the patterns in front of you. It makes it way easier, especially those who are learning. Make life easy for yourself, all right? It doesn't need to be hard. Make life easy for yourself. Great work. Everyone who took that, fantastic work. Fantastic work. I'm very jealous over you now. Probably should have taken that myself, but hey, sometimes you just got to make money and get off the charts. So we're almost there. 4 more likes is all we need to hit that target. And once this stream starts to grow, I will start talking to Traderify and getting some free accounts to give away on the stream. But we need this stream to start growing to be able to do that. So look at the ES. It went straight from IBL all the way to IB high, starting to find some sellers at IB high. Can it come back down towards VWAP now? Yeah, Kathy, I'm sure it'd be possible. We just need to grow the numbers here a little bit, and I'll have a chat with Brett. I'm sure we can get some accounts to give away. So trading back down to VWAP now. Yes, almost there. Remember, your structure, your breakout is down here. These are the sellers who caused this squeeze. So you would want this to be soaked back up. If you don't see buyers initiate here or a buying pattern, good chance we come all the way back down. Again, just to remind you, you are not in a trend. You are in an initial balance day. This is a range rotation play kind of day. So you need to be playing edges on days like these. You buy or sell too late, you will be punished more than a trend day. On a trend day, if you buy a little bit late or you're a bit sloppy on execution, but there's liquidity to aim for above, it's going to let you probably get away with it because it's going to keep trending higher. In range rotation days, if you buy the highs, you are going to get hurt. So Nightbot just reminding everyone there. Apex still on sale right now. All right, not a huge sale. I think it's 50% right now with my code FZT. If you want to trade on Traderify, which is my favorite platform right now, 3 different options to trade with, you can use code FZT. It would get you between 35 and 60% off right now, I think it is. And if you want the indicators, if you want to do the 20-hour on-demand course, if you want to learn all my setups in detail and you want to be part of the Discord, you can click that link for flowzonetrader.com. It's a one-time fee, $649. Just one-time fee. It's not monthly. There's no added codes or anything like that. Just a one-time fee. So ES trading back to its VWAP. So notice the ES learn these patterns. IBL, VWAP, VWAP, IB high, IBY, back to VWAP, right? It's doing it right now on the ES. Relative weakness in the Qs didn't make it to the IB high because the Mag 7 is weaker, whereas the banking sector off earnings has been a little bit stronger, which has been propping up the SPY and the ES a little bit. So we're back testing that area that we broke out from. Remember, you will need these sellers to become buyers. These are the sellers which initiate these squeezes. They need to become buyers here, getting out break even. If that doesn't happen, you will just return into here. You can't just be buying this. You would need a pattern here. But remember, we are in a range rotation. We are rotating ranges until it shows it's able to hold up. We could go all the way back down to the lows here very, very easily. It would not be tough for it to do. Here we go. So selling all the way back inside that range. That's why, like I just said, you cannot be buying high on range rotation days. You need to buy low and sell high on range rotation days. And this liquidity here was the level we were aiming at. Once we took that, so to be very careful once it takes this liquidity. Did it take it maybe by a tick? Maybe by a tick is all it managed. BU saying, I love this channel. Thanks so much. I love working with you all. Appreciate you turning up. So melting back down here, do they find buyers at these key levels? Relative equal lows on the IB. Yep, there are relative equal lows, but only on the Qs, right? Only on the Qs, there are. But so far, we're protecting that. Remember, there's liquidity both sides it can aim for. Right, so it is a little bit messy, but I would agree. You got these guys down here, for sure. But so far, they're showing a willingness to protect that. If they get under here, maybe they sweep and then do this. Maybe they get stuck. Maybe they just hold this level here we just talked about. Remember, these sellers caused the squeeze. So this is RBS. RBS right here. Resistance becomes support. So we're looking for a bullish pattern here if you're looking to go back upside. So just the very principle that these sellers, imagine you are short and short and short and short. When we get to here, what do? You cover. Covering is buying back the market. Any of these that did not cover is now getting them a chance to get break even. So what do? Cover now. Do we then sell here? Possibly. Possibly sell once we get back up here where these guys are stuck, right? So we're just trading from level to level. Those levels are getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we stay inside the range for longer. So remember, this whole move is a range. This here is a range, and then inside that, this is a range. Yeah, but this is still a range. This is your initial balance. There is no confirmed trend inside an initial balance. We are expecting rotational plays. How much easier is it, guys? I shouldn't say that anymore, should I? How much easier is it, people, or ladies and gents, and I can't even say that. People, I'm going to say people. How much easier is it, people, when you understand what type of market we're in? When we're in an initial balance, you are expecting chop and you're buying lows to sell highs. When we're in a trending market, right, we are buying pullbacks. We're buying pullbacks and pullbacks and pullbacks. Yesterday was the same. Right, we were buying pullbacks. We said we knew it was in lows, IB, pullbacks. Simple, simple, simple. Keep it simple. Give yourself, make rules, whether they're my rules or your own rules. Create rules that you stick to so you can have a process-based environment, because then when you record your data, it will make sense. So maybe, like Peter Curry said, maybe we get stuck here and go and attack that. Maybe, but just be careful. This is a very important area here, the edge of the old range. Very important area. ETFs are dancing on these areas. 5 minute is filling that imbalance. Look at the 5 minutes, trying to fill the imbalance from that engulfing candle that we printed for that move higher. It's trying to hold this right now for like a break and retest kind of move. All right, so boom, boom. Can it hold this kind of imbalance and go back upside? Failure of this, then maybe this. Easy plays today? I think not. I think not. I think market's doing a good job of probably upsetting a lot of people. It's doing a very good job of doing it. Oh, I'm going to have a quick look around. What is... I always love looking at this. It's silly, isn't it? But I want to see, is top step up or down on the day? It's all I want to see. No position. Well, that probably makes a change in good trading. Yeah, quite right, Peter. Patience. Patience helps. Very important to have patience on days like these. You have to be so much more accurate with your entries on days like these. You want as little risk as possible. I'm interested, how many of you, when I get off stream at lunch, how many continue to trade through the day? And if you do you join another channel? Is there someone else that you like how they trade, or you just like the company? Or do you put music or the TV on? Or do you normally stop? You like me and you're like, oh, I'm pretty much done at lunchtime, no matter what. Unless there's clear and obvious setups like yesterday. I took a couple, but I was actually out yesterday running errands and then watching Arsenal beat Spurs. Get in. Nothing better than beating Spurs. Best feeling ever. Stop at 11 Eastern. Miguel saying it's the only channel for him. Myron saying the same. Peter saying the same. Stopping for the day. Well, very good discipline. I'm impressed. Very impressed. Jeff, stop at 8:30. Go to work. Marek, stop as well. Trade by yourself, Idris. But just one micro. Minix done for the day. Redline, trade that PM session on your own. Vanderman, yeah, heck no, let's go Gunners. Oh, I love it. I love it. Nothing better. I would sing all the songs on here, but I'll probably get banned. I did post some of them on my Twitter. Assuming you're a gooner, I posted some stuff you'll probably enjoy. Most of my family are Tottenham fans, so I absolutely love beating them. Brian, stop but come back from power hour. Interesting. So you like that extra injection of liquidity in power hour, the volatility. Nice, Thumper. Yeah, I think that's good use of time. That Thumper saying he stops, rewatches parts of the live stream, and then revisits the course and watches the sections. Yeah, Dean. Yeah, that makes sense. You stay and you look for that optimum trade if you're going to take it. So it has to be clear and obvious for you. Peter Curry saying he wasn't always disciplined. He had to iron out bad habits of over trading, but it paid off. He'd been full-time trading for almost 3 years. That's amazing. Good work. Yeah, bad habits. Learning key setups in trading isn't hard, right? I shouldn't say isn't hard, but like the easier part of trading is seeing the setups, understanding the market. The harder part is sticking to it, is creating a rule-based environment where you don't randomly click in and out of trades. Notice here how we're starting, which are on the right chart, how we're starting to attempt to hold this area. Okay, so this was your chart. This was the breakout of the range. We're attempting to hold the top side of this range where these sellers were stuck. Now, it has to hold this for an attempt to go back to this high, use liquidity here to get back up here. A failure of this, right? These sellers come back in control. All the buyers in this section become pop sellers and we go lower. So just understanding the psychology of these levels is important. What's easier is when these ranges are way bigger. all right, because then we have more things to add for, to look for. And then also when we're in a pro-trend environment, I would be much more willing to buy dips in here if my thesis was higher, if my general thesis was higher, right? Way easier to buy dips in that. Yesterday was a good example. If we go back to yesterday, right, I was willing to buy dips here because my thesis was higher. I knew we were in a squeeze, right? So breakout, pull back to where we found buyers. Right, that pullback I think was like 61% or something. Yeah, into golden zone. So pullback into golden zone, held that level, trapped shorts, held VWAP, push, pull, above pivot, buy signal, let's go higher. Right, very clear and obvious. And we had H1 levels up here to aim for. So I knew the market wanted to drive higher. It was very obvious that it wanted to inflict max pain on shorts. But now we've already inflicted max pain on shorts. I am not confident that we want to go back up here. So it's way harder for me to pull a trigger. Whereas once we get to tomorrow, let's say we close inside like this, like we do now. Let's say the rest of the day we do this. And I'm just going to take these off. Right? If we close inside, then come tomorrow, depending where we open, I know, okay, well now we have these sellers in here as very obvious levels of liquidity we can run for, and we have these buyers in here. So once we take one side, or once we get one side stuck, maybe tomorrow we do something like, come on, let me draw it please. Maybe we open up here and we dunk down and we do this. Okay, then I'm going to be a buyer, because then I'm like, okay, we're going to come and take these guys out. Or maybe we sweep up and we fail and we do this. Then I'm going to look for a seller back down to here. At the moment, we're just creating the range. Less obvious right now which side we want to drive for. The obvious trade were the shorts we took this morning. It was very obvious that there was liquidity right here that we wanted to take. All right, so once we knew sell, sell, once we took that, not interested in the sell at that point. Hopefully that makes sense. Low hanging fruit trades. That's what really changed it for me, sticking to process of low hanging fruit trades. Now, on days like today, we're lucky. If I wasn't here streaming with you and helping, on days like today, we'd be lucky because I would have been done in half an hour. I'd be off stream already. Right? So other days, you have to wait for those trades to set up. So scroll up a little bit here for chat. Foster up 190, micro MES. Great work, Foster Scott. Miguel saying that's his current struggle. Yeah, just sticking to this plays, not trading outside of your playbook. Very low risk rotational play. Yeah, great work. Really nice work. We're at the weekly volume point of control. Interesting. I haven't checked that out. Let's have a little look-see. Good eyes, mate. Weekly candles, very interesting here in general. I'm really surprised we didn't come and take out 20,665, let's say, before we say the devil. 20,665. I'm very surprised, or somewhere around there, isn't it? Those lows. What's that lower one? Maybe 640. I'm really surprised we haven't taken those, but maybe it will set up later. Yeah, lots of POCs here from the last few sessions, even on the hourly chart. Very easy to see them. Okay, so the question here is, do buyers absorb versus this, or do sellers take over and these buyers get stuck? Again, you're in range rotation. This is midpoint. If you go from IB high to IB low, you're basically at midpoint. It's not a great trade location. Yeah, Foster Scott. Yeah, exactly, mate. Good old weekly model gave us a beautiful trade yesterday, didn't it, my friend? Violating those levels. Honestly, it's so good. 80% of the time, we know that's going to play out. Having edge like that is important in the market. It means you can size with a bit more confidence on days like yesterday. We're just trading back and forth in the range, hanging around the VWAPs. SPY and the ES is currently above its VWAP. NQ and a QQQ currently below its VWAP, right? Peter, time to call it a day. Taking the money and running. See you all tomorrow. Great work, Peter. Fantastic trading today. I think you took that initial balance rotation. Great work. It's a great trade. Give yourself a pat on the back and have a good rest of your day. I wish you well. I'm going to try and stay with you till lunch. So if you guys and girls, ladies and gents, if you people have anything else you want to cover in the next 20-25 minutes, let's go over it now. If you don't understand structure, there's something simple like that that you don't fully understand, let me know. So failure here, that bear flag starting to break down, so maybe now going to attack that IB low. All right, so failure here, maybe now these sellers can come back in. If these buyers are trapped, maybe you get an attack with that initial balance low. Remember, you still have some daily levels here. You still have that anchored VWAP around the 80, but it's looking like it wants to sell back down aggressively here into it. So that bear flag starting to break down. You know, again, confirmation of range rotation. I cannot say it enough. So if we're going to sweep that low, and that IB into 36, if we're going to do it. So do pops start to fail now? VIX trying to have a little shove upside here. Watch your ATR. Look, it suddenly spiked from being fairly flat to starting to grow aggressively here. Remember, buyers, this is where buyers truly came in earlier, this block. So you need to see them sell here if you're going to get continuation. Up here, dangerous. Very dangerous if it holds and trades up here. Again, remember the market we're in. We're not in a trending market. We're in a range rotational market. Its aim is to upset you and cause pain. Just remember that, the best way I can put it. I would want to see pops failing if I'm a seller here, but I wouldn't have a huge amount of confidence. Definite have diversion against ES here. Divergence against ES here. But you would not want to see this up towards sort of 400, 420. 400's all right, but 410, 420, maybe then it's retrapped. If it does this kind of move here, it can retrap, violate this, and then use these stops to get up here. But again, range rotation, you'd be looking for sell continuation back down here. Violation of this is a problem. Again, not in a trending market. So it's very, very careful, because if you're going to short this, you know you have to be covering into these lows. You have to play edges. Idris, I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see where we close come Friday. Really hard to say. I mean, look, when the election results came in, we pumped really hard. We've closed that election gap now back to the downside. Maybe it's a sell the news event. Maybe it's a sell the news event. Maybe we base out on the daily and we put in a giant squeeze, like a flip of a coin, really. We're just going to wait for the market to react, I think is important, not guess. And then we'll join in. We'll participate once the market has made it very, very clear to us what it wants to do. I think that's going to be the easiest way to trade it, because it's going to be tough otherwise. It's going to be really tough otherwise to try and guess a situation like that. Looking good for bear flag. I'm actually joining this now, seeing just small size, seeing if we can get a breaker structure here for a move back to low of day. Lovely. So locking a little bit in, looking for a break of 70 here off this bear flag. And then we'll look to take a partial out here if we can get down there. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Moving my stop in. This is working out lovely now. Right, not going to add into this. I'm going to make that clear. I'm not adding into this as we break down, because we're in an initial balance. I don't want to add low on this. All right, I don't want to add low on this down here where I know buyers have come, but I think there's a chance we can come back down into this now that we're setting up. Bear flag, continuation. I think there's a chance we can get into here. Beautiful. So moving my stop now. Don't want it to come back above 82s. Really, I don't want to see it return above 72s if possible. Again, not adding low on this. I want to see VIX start to squeeze here. It's right at previous day low. I want VIX to just put in a bullish candle to the upside and the market start to let go. What's tricky is the spiders. Spiders coming back into the level of support. So Q's relative weakness on the session. We are looking good here though, team. Hopefully some of you got it with me. I was pretty quick on the trigger here. Can we get that wash back down? Market under view up. Sellers starting to take control here. Can we attack that IB low? 20 minutes till lunch. I didn't think I was going to get another trade here, but that just looked a little too good to pass up for me. All right, stuck at previous day close, fell underneath, trade back inside to the flow zones after a sell signal, stuck here, back to here, stuck here. Can we get to here? So boom, 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 boom. That's what we want. Nice and simple. Again, I don't want to see it reclaim 72. I definitely don't want it to see it reclaim 82. I'll be hands up. Reclaim of 82, I'll be out. All right, we'll lock in the runners. Because at that point, if buyers are going to protect this same level here again, we need to be careful with this. All right, if they're going to do that. But so far, we're looking very good. Hopefully, some of you are in this with me. Looking amazing. Come on. Let's just go and wipe them out now. Let's go and wipe these guys out. Come on, market. Let's get moving to the downside. Just having a look. Here we go. Looking so strong now. We just need one big candle. I will take a partial into this low. I want one more move down here. Trying not to be too greedy. Moving my stop now to 55s. Almost there. Almost there. Boom. All right, so taking partial there. Just one left now. Beautiful, beautiful move. And now we're just going to see how far can it melt. But remember, we are still in a rotational market. So if we start to reclaim the initial balance here, we can rotate back upside. If we build some liquidity here and reject, we might get a trend lower type of scenario in the afternoon session. But that was a beautiful trade. I really didn't think I was going to get something before lunch, but that was lovely. Patience pays. All right, so we're coming into some of these high time frame levels. Value area low from yesterday, all right, in towards 300. Remember these that we looked at earlier, team. All right, remember these levels. I was saying a back test. I would think about being a buyer here if they put in a bullish pattern. Otherwise, if it fails, maybe here. All right, so I'm not looking to enter late in this session down here. All right, we are coming into interesting areas where if it wants to do a huge sort of cup and handle type pattern, if it wants to do this, it will do it to here, create that liquidity and have an attack higher. Otherwise, maybe it gets stuck, fails, and maybe it finds a bid here. So just don't be forcing yourself into the market late. It is definitely how you will get trapped in a day like this. All right, understand higher time frame, where buyers have previously come in, where old sellers are stuck. That was a lovely, lovely trade. All right, we got good trade there. That ended up being actually quite decent size. Still in a runner here, just in case. Where's my shorts? We can have a little look. All right, so actually, let's do it to where I took it off. So 3.4R, almost 50 points there. All right, happened very quick. Very, very quick. So starting to re-attack here. Not as in me, it's starting the market to re-attack these levels. If sellers don't come in here, this would be your failed auction. This would be an explore outside failed auction, and it would trade back upside towards VWAP. Okay, so what did I say? I'm at 50. Just make sure I've got my stop in. I'm actually going to move that stop down. Yeah, 50 is fine. So reclaim of that, I'll be out. And I'm not going to add any more sizing down here. That was a beautiful trade. Even that's kind of wild to give that much back, but hey, had to try and give it some room. We can stop me out there. Stopped out on a runner. Right, so there's a failed auction. Right, failed auction underneath here. This is why we took money into this level. So if it starts to build and base here, it might want to go all the way back to VWAP. That will be me done for the day, without a shadow of a doubt. Unless I come back later and I feel like we are building liquidity versus here and getting stuck, and I feel like we can go down to this next level, maybe I'll think about a trade, but it's unlikely. You know, 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 technically today, because what did I take? I took this short, covered, break even, and then I took this short again, and then add, and then out, and then we just took this one. So I missed this, but I took this. Once it became clear, break, retest, boom. Nice, easy trade. So before we sign off, we've got 15 minutes left. I want to know who took that with me. Who absolutely smacked that short with me? Drop me a W in chat. Hopefully, lots of you smacked it. Or some of you are telling me you did. Right, Kathy got it. Lovely work. Thumper got it. Lovely work. Dean got it. Lovely work. Jeff got it. Steve got it. Marek got it. Foster Scott got it. Minix got it. Let's go, team. Let's go. I'm waiting to have a big losing trade with you guys. It's not sure we've had a big loser. Hopefully we never have a loser. We will have losers, but hopefully we don't get a big loser. Oh, Kathy, you missed it. Ah, sorry. I thought you said you got it. Maybe you're just saying, oh, beautiful move. Good one to learn from, though, eh? If you missed it, you'll see it next time. So this felt a little risky here. All right, why did this feel risky? Let's just go over this, chat, because this was the old resistance becomes support. So this is your R level, and this is your S level. So this was resistance, resistance, resistance. There's your breakout, became support. But once we failed underneath this, it meant that everyone who was bidding this was now underwater. So the return back in, these buyers became sellers. So we went back to a sell. Where was the target? Relative equal lows. I forget who it was, but someone in the chat called it earlier in the day. And I said, yeah, if it becomes obvious, we will take it. And it did. Right, so there was the pattern. Bear flag against flow zones, against previous day close, for the sell back down. I'm not really interested in anything else now. All right, maybe it keeps rejecting this, but really this failed auction is a bit of a tell. If it holds this, it might go all the way back upside. Remember, the market's job today is to create liquidity. If this wants to go way lower and I miss it for the rest of the day, that's okay, because it means come Friday, tomorrow, or come Monday, if it goes way lower, if I wake up tomorrow and the market's down here, that's all right. I'll be looking for some form of pattern to go back up. Same for tomorrow. If we're basing out here and we do something like this, I'll be looking for the market to go back up. Right, so anything missed this afternoon, no big problem. But for me, I would say shorts are off the table right now. Failed auction underneath has become fairly clear. W but got out too early. No worries, Brian. No worries. just try and, I don't know where you got in or where you got out, but just try and always hold a runner. So if that's your bear flag, it's fine to take a partial on this, but just know this is where the market wants to come to. Right, so I had a limit just sat there. You would have heard me saying, come on, take it, take it, take it, take it. Once it took it, I was out on most of my side. And then runners here with a stop in case we went lower. We didn't, so I stop out. That's fine. Not a big deal. But it will just come with more confidence in the market, I would say. Foster Scott's now looking for the longs. And I think you're trading ES, right? So you've got divergence in the play because Qs, because of the relative weakness, I cannot say this enough, right? The market today, the NQ, the Qs have relative weakness in the market because the Mag 7 is struggling. Like I said it numerous times. Bank earnings the last 2 days have been strong, which is why the SPY and the ES is holding up. So if you're looking for longs, ES is a better play today. If you're looking for the shorts, which I've been looking for today, Qs are the better play. Hopefully that makes sense. So for Foster Scott, who's looking for a rotation after a divergence because Q swept the low, ES didn't, he's looking for a rotation back in towards VWAP. It makes sense. Totally makes sense. Kathy, yeah, the move was great. FOMO kicked in. No, that's all right. Well, if you didn't take it because of FOMO, that's fine. That's fine. That's also good trading. It means you saw it, you didn't take it, and then you realized it was too late, and you're like, it's too late to attack it now. That is good trading. All right, so we're trading back upside now. Failed auction below. We explored beneath. All right, structure technically is like this right now until we sort of pivot above these on the NQs. ES almost tagged view up there. Foster Scott just giving you a heads up. The SPY did tag its view up or missed it by 2 pennies. ES very, very close. So all the time ES holds, I'd say 85, 86 maybe goes up. But that was a good drive higher there on the ES. So just be careful because you're on a 5-minute now. You have that block around 90 to 93, and you pretty much tagged it. You wouldn't want to see it base out here too long on the ES, I would say. If it bases out here too long on the ES, I'd be slightly concerned. Yeah, lovely. There you go. Well, you got it. You got that move. It made sense. A rotation straight back towards VWAP made total sense. All right, team, I just want to say before I sign off, thank you for joining me today. I'm sorry I was that little bit late this morning, made an error on stream, gave you all a really nice breakdown and then realized I was talking to no one. So that's my fault. Those of you in Discord will probably know I was a little bit rushed and stuff. And we will be back tomorrow. All right, and we'll be trading the same way tomorrow we do every single day. Nothing changes in how we execute and approach the market here in this channel. I'm going to repeat, there are some of you who want to learn and you're doing the free course and the free stuff on YouTube. The system that I teach and everything you need to know about the markets is in the course. It's not a short 2-hour course, right? It's 20 hours on demand. And then you get the flow zone indicator and Discord for free. And with Discord, obviously, I'm there all the time. You're free to answer questions. We have a very small but very friendly Discord group. We're very good at helping. So if you're interested, do the course. It's a one-time fee, all right? I can't say enough about that. It's really genuinely helping a lot of people turn their trading careers around right now. Before I leave, let's see what everyone's saying. All right, thanks for the education, Khalees. Yeah, no worries. Steve C, banger of a day again. Yeah, every day, banger of a day. Every day is a trading opportunity. Kathy, no worries. Look at XRP USD, got long 2020 around 17. Let me just have a quick look before I leave. Let's see what are you using. US dollar. You got in where? Let's just have a quick look here. You're going to be up huge. 17 cents. Wow, dude. Lovely breakout. Lovely breakout. Almost a measured move now, Scott. So I don't know how much you're still in, but I'd be thinking about a partial into this level. That's a really nice breakout into around 350 psychological, and it's also the measured move of this flag, right? So 100% move of the breakout. Makes sense there. Really, really nice. And then, you know, I don't know much about it, but if it's got long-term prospects, just hold the rest forever and ever and ever. Maybe sell your risk and then go from there. Jane Joy, no worries. Thank you for joining. Thank you, BU. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, DJ Noah. Thank you, Miguel. Yep, see you on Discord. Idris, see you tomorrow. Just found you yesterday looking for IB trading. This is tops. Oh, that's amazing. Glad to hear it. Retirement fund for Foster Scott in XRP. I love it. Yeah, totally, Crawford. Good plan. No worries. All right, cheers, everyone. As always, use hard stops. Or use hard stops. I can't say it enough. You are at the exposure of market makers, news catalysts. Anything can hit the market at any time. All right, we're only a few days away from Trump coming in. We had news yesterday of a ceasefire. You never know. All right, if that comes off the table, maybe we go risk off again. You just don't know in this market. So just be sensible. Understand. I'm going to leave you with this. You are in a range rotation. You have failed auctions each side. Be sensible with your sizing, with your positioning. Low-hanging fruit, we've taken it this morning. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Love you all. Thank you for turning up. If you want to help this channel out, just share it with your friends. Let's get this channel growing. The faster this channel grows, the easier it is for me to start doing giveaways from these prop firms from you guys, all right? Peace and love. I'll speak to you real soon.